Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Chris Wilson from St. Andrew Christian Church, and here to talk about sermon this coming week. And before I jump into the sermon for this week, I want to talk about the month of November. I'm starting a new sermon series for the month of November. I'm calling the series Creating Communities of Care. And this particular series, this 4-week series, will have a pastoral care focus to it. Recognize that the last year has been a hard year within the life of the church when it's come to pastoral care. We've had significant members that we have lost to death. We've had many that have gone through treatments and surgeries. We've had a heavy wave of responding to the needs in the community, and felt like a series that would address and reflect on some of the emotions that people have felt through the year might be of value to us as a community. And so the series of Creating Communities of Care has 4 parts to it. And uniquely, they all start with the letter L. And so the 4 weeks are going to be loss, lament, listening, and longing are the 4 themes for each of the weeks, for each week in the series. And so this coming Sunday, the first in the series, will focus on the word loss. And the scripture text that will kind of ground the sermon this week is from the book of Acts, chapter 15. And it's kind of a unique little story. Paul is ready to go out and do another adventure to churches and believers, and is saying to Barnabas, "Let's go." And Barnabas says, "Well, what about John Mark? John Mark's been a good dedicated person, has joined us in the past." And Paul goes, "Well, John Mark didn't go. He kind of left in the middle of the last journey, and he didn't show up. And so we're not taking John Mark. I'm not sure I want to do that." And Barnabas says, "Well, I don't think that's right." And they got into a big argument. Paul and Barnabas did, and ended up happening that Barnabas leaves Paul and aligns with John Mark, and Paul ended up having to pick Silas to go with him on the next adventure. And there's this interplay that Barnabas stood up for John Mark and said, "This is a worthy person we need to be thinking about." But what we have in that interaction of Paul choosing Silas and John Mark being aligned with Barnabas is you have a real loss of relationship. There's been a wedge that's been formed in these relationships of people that have been doing this faithful work together, and personalities or whatever it is that created the angst or animosity between them, they had to part ways with one another. It was a pretty significant piece. There was a significant loss in that relationship that was important to them. And so as we think about creating communities of care, we have to recognize that loss is a significant part of the human journey. We encounter losses of all different kinds, and relationship losses are huge, whether it's loss of life, loss of connection to that person, or loss through some other circumstance has dramatic impacts on who we are, our psyche, our demeanor, how we carry ourselves, and what's important to us. So we will explore this theme of loss as it relates to creating communities of care. I hope you'll join us on Sunday as we launch into this new series. Sunday will also include a celebration of All Saints' Day, and we will mark in our prayer time a remembering of those that we have lost in the last year that have been important to us. So I hope you join us for a meaningful service, a meaningful worship, and hopefully a meaningful sermon as well. Hope to see you Sunday. Take care.